Now, the Zambia national team that comprises of local players in the CHAN competition has been drawn in a group where there's Guinea, there's Namibia and Tanzania. Well, our new coach seems to be bubbling with confidence. He says it's a tricky group, but Zambia can pull through. And looking at some of the news and transfer rumors that have been coming through, Forest Rangers has appreciated the performance of their players for qualifying for the Napsa Cup 2020. It was believed that each player walked away with a 10,000 kwacha hard cash, 10 pin vakamba for Malembe, empowering the players after qualifying for the Napsa. Welcome to the Sports Diary. My name is Bruce Mubange, and we are back on your screen. I am with Lakson Mwale. Lakson, please say hi to the viewers.
Yes, hi to our viewers, and it's good to be back on the platform. So it's a pleasure, Bruce.
Michael.
Yeah, great to be here, and always a pleasure to be on Kopala TV Sports Diary.
Somebody was saying about Michael Mtalevali Bakunga Valelondrola Bola ya Zambia. He takes his time and gives the analysis. We're loving the feedback that we're getting from you, the viewers, as you've been watching the Sports Diary. Please give us more feedback and reaction regarding our program. Gentlemen, it's been a very busy weekend in terms of sports results. I'll start with the upset, Aba Redding, Kana Football Club going down to Forest Rangers. This was a heated encounter, I must say. I'll start with you, Michael. Forest carrying the whole 3 points and going back to Ndola.
Well, expected result for me, Bruce, even though I predicted a draw in this particular encounter, but the story was not new to me. Forest have been very competitive this season, and they've been, giving Nkana, some tougher run for their money. So on the match day, I think they played very well. But for me, questions were raised when the referee awarded the penalty to Forest Rangers. For me, it was not a penalty per se, but the referee's decision is final, and Forest Rangers were the ones smiling at the end of the day.
Some soccer analysts are really concerned with the Zambian way of officiating the matches, and in particular looking at what you've mentioned, Michael, the game against Forest Rangers, because at the end of the game, there was so much emotion, there was so much happening around the Nkana supporters. They felt that the official didn't handle that game so well. The match officials lacks on in the Zambian league. What's your take on that one?
It's really a concern. I remember Kabwarias have written to Faz weeks ago complaining about the same thing that happened at Nkana. I think maybe we do need VAR to you don't expect Bruce, but at the end of the day they need to be careful. That's why they have 2 assistant referees to help them. And everyone who watched that game on TV, we could actually tell that wasn't a penalty, because we had an opportunity to see the replay.
Yes.
Now even the fans who are at the stadium,
because when after the game they almost manhandled. Of course, we don't support hooliganism in football or any form of thuggery, and because football should be played in harmony and all that. But at the end of the game, the emotions were too high. The ref actually had to be escorted by heavy police officers.
Yes, it's a sign that the fans were not happy, and then losing at home via a penalty, a decision that the referee could have changed. But it's not only the Nkana game. I've watched quite a number of games that that we've seen poor match officiating. We can name a few. The game between it was Green Eagles as well.
Green Eagles against Green Buffalo.
Yeah, Green Eagles against Green Buffalo. That was a clear offside.
Ronald Chibu. Scoring from a clear offside.
It was clear offside. You see it on TV. A replay, you could actually tell that the referee had a poor communication with his assistant. So at the end of the day, FAS needs to stamp in and obviously talk to these referees, because they might just kill the tempo of the game, and all the fans wouldn't want to see every game referees are escorted by the police.
Right, talking about FAS, gentlemen, actually would want to send our message of condolences to FAS and the football fraternity for the passing on of Mr. Kabongo, the FAS league manager. He was such he had so much, historical background, the track record that he has in terms of working with the referees. He was once a referee, became referee manager, and was doing so much for Fires. And obviously, our hearts reach out to the family of the Kabungo families, and also the Fires and the entire football fraternity. We're moving on to the other results that came through in terms of, let's go to Solwezi, where Kansanshi Dynamos were held 1-0. Muflira finally getting a goal, and it had to come not from their home ground, but they had to score away in Solwezi when they played against the Mabanga boys. Lakson, Kansanshi Dynamos 1, Muflira Wanderers 1. Maite
were leading in that particular fixture. We thought they were winning it.
At number finally Maite balawina koboa.
Wow. It was the other story. It ended 1-1 after 90 minutes. But they were leading. They scored first. They couldn't capitalize on the chances they created. They could have queued off the game, but they allowed the Kansanshi Dynamos to bounce back. And before 90 minutes, they had equalized.
Well, what's your take on Kansanshi? It seems like the results are here and there. They win, they lose, they win. They win, lose.
If there's a team in the bottom, let me say in the bottom 10, I would say if there's a team, the bottom 6 or 5, I still fancy Kansanshi Dynamos to pull through. And obviously, for them being the debutants, they've been giant killers. I would want to still watch them in the next season. So, with good results, winning some games and of
drawing
course,
as well.
Some,
exactly.
It will help them to survive in the league.
Right. But from my observation, Kansanshi Dynamos has not been performing well on the road. No. Their away results have not been very convincing. I must say, when they went to Lusaka, they lost. Of course, they drew when they came to Arthur Davis, but the other results away from home, they haven't been doing so well. So we hope they can collect some maximum points on the road. But Coach Beston Chambishi seems to be doing a good job. Quicksilver there and stabilizing the Mabanga boys in Solwezi. Michael, let me quickly bring you in. Nkwazi, I have nicknamed Nkwazi a party spoiler. Nkwazi has just been a thorn in everyone's flesh. Anyone that's coming against Nkwazi, it's an upset. Nkwazi 3, Nakambala 0.
I think the police service are doing, massive work on the field of play.
Bomber ni bomber.
I think they are being instructed by their bosses, commanders, whoever is in charge. I think it's paying off. And for me, it's not a surprise result for me. Facing the likes of Nakambala, who are not performing very well. But I think on the day, Nkwazi, deservingly, they wanted the 3 points more. And Nakambala, things are just not looking good for them.
Nakambala, things are bad, and Nkwazi, this is, I think, their 3rd win in a row.
Yeah.
So they've been consistent in terms of recording some good results, and like Lakson, we can also call them giant slayers as well, because nama big teams they've been just playing some good football. Lakson, Lusaka Dynamos versus Green Buffaloes, the elite Lusaka Dynamos winning, and it was 2-1 in favor of Lusaka Dynamos.
Yes,
Ian
Bakala picking up our points, and obviously I think the last time he played Power Dynamos, ever since that game, I've seen a whole different Lusaka Dynamos.
They are confident, they're playing some good football.
They could have won it against Nkana. They played some good football. They had a couple of shots on goal. They had hit the post twice, and they equalized in the 85th minutes against Nkana. Coming against a Green Buffalo side, the Army-sponsored side, they played well, and winning it in a Lusaka derby, that obviously gives Ian Bakala so much confidence. And who knows, they might just finish in the top in the half 10.
Well, let's wait and see how that is going to unfold. But over the weekend, for me, the game that really shocked me in terms of results was in Choma. Green Eagles versus Lumwana. We all thought that Green Eagles just going to have a walk in the park. 4-0, Yalafika 5-0, but alas, Green Eagles 2, Lumwana Radiants 2.
The Green Eagles were losing this game. They only equalized, I think, in the 90th minute.
There you have it.
Down by 2-1 against Lumwana Radiants. I think these are some of the games where Coach Patrick Piri comes up with his tactics and organizes lads in a very, very good way. And they did do that when they faced one Hagri Chengi side in Green Eagles. And they made Green Eagles to sweat for that 1 point, Bruce, if you can ask me. Good result for Lumwana. Unfortunately, they couldn't pick up maximum 3 points, but they played well, scored 2, only to allow Green Eagles to equalize in the 90th minutes. I think they felt like they've lost that game.
Right, Agre Chiangi up against Coach Patrick Piri. Are we seeing Coach Patrick Piri driving Lumwana Radiants in the right direction in terms of the results? Because there's been so much inconsistency, Laxon, if you ask me, when you look at the way Lumwana Radiants have been playing. But he goes to Choma and gets 1 point on the road.
Yeah, the very difficult stadium to get a win. Obviously, all the teams that have been to Choma, a draw has been the best result. And for Lumwana Radiants, Amit Shamende spoiling the party. They were leading 2-1, like Michael said. They were leading 2-1 in the second half, but before 90 minutes, Amit Shamende just came and spoiled the party for Patrick Piri's side. But I think with the massive experience that Patrick Piri do possess, he can make Lumwana Radiants to survive. They stand on the 12th position. Obviously, they don't want to go back in the red zone.
Red zone. Yeah, they should kufuma more red zone.
It's a place where not every club would want to be there, because you'll be playing the most competitive football in the nation. That's the national league. So surviving the red zone for Patrick Piri, they are on the safe side. Obviously, they would want to maintain the same momentum, and a bit of inclusion will help him, because they didn't have the material that he needs as a coach.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, gentlemen, let's go to Lusaka and dwell briefly on Napsa Football Club. We've been here on the on set, and we've basically been analyzing all the games. And somebody was saying, "Ushaba Napsa na bapoka pensioni yonse fie vale ko kuingisha amba fio kulalusa," having said it so well. But if you look at their performance in the last 5 games, it hasn't been so well. Even this past weekend, Red Arrows carried the day, winning by a goal to 0, and Red Arrows collecting all the maximum 3 points away from Red Arrows. I mean Napsa Football Club. What is there something cooking in the Napsa boardroom, or in what has gone wrong?
Well,
pension?
I don't really know what is happening at Napsa, if you can ask me. I think it's very bad, knowing for the fact that they started this league very well. They were one stop in the league, came on number 2, but they just keep on dropping down, which is a sad development in Lusaka. But looking at the massive support they receive from Napsa, and of course they've got a very good coach in Muhammad Fati.
Right.
The players are there, the likes of Sikombe, the likes of they've signed the likes of Emmanuel Mayuka. So you tend to wonder what has really gone wrong with Napsa Stars, and it's very sad, because I was thinking, come the end of this season, they'll be representing Zambia in continental football.
I saw them in that zone as well, Michael. But
yeah. But if you watch the game against Power Dynamos and the game they played before that, they looked very organized, playing good football, and you tend to wonder to say, okay, this squad looks very good, but all of a sudden it has disappeared.
They've been losing on the road.
Yeah.
They've been losing at home.
So we don't know if Muhammad Fati is losing the dressing room. We don't know if it's the management not doing what they're supposed to do, because the same players are still there.
The same players are still there, and basically playing against Red Arrows, it's like what if you pahoma naps. Nimulusaka muliamu inefie pankoloma palia pamo abofie. You would even wonder why the confidence is not there anymore. Anyway, we only wish them the very best, the pension boys, in terms of the results. Otherwise, it hasn't been very pleasing in terms of the results they've been recording in the past games that they have played. This is Sports Diary on Kopala TV channel 98, and of course you can like our page Kopala TV on Facebook, and you'll be there and you'll be seeing our programming. We are up for feedback. We are up for reactions and all these other feedback that you can give us. And of course, if you want to sponsor your product, get in touch with Kopala TV. Quickly, gentlemen, we had Butcon hosting Cabo Warriors. Now, Cabo Warriors on the road, they've just been another team that's been on fire. The elite team losing to Cabo Warriors at home.
Yep.
2 unanswered goals.
2 unanswered goals.
Bayana 3 points. Central Province Bakabo.
Butcon with their monies on paper. I don't know what's been happening with the Kopala guys.
On paper, Bruce.
On paper. Right.
Lusaka Warriors are obviously trying to redeem themselves against the loss they had in the Kabwe Derby for the young Kaisa guys. They've picked up momentum, winning it away on the Copper Belt. Obviously, every team in this second stanza of the season, Bruce, every team that would want to survive, win some games.
Exactly.
If you want to survive, win some games and obviously draw. Now, if
not Kulalusa.
If a team is winning away like what Cabo Warriors did, obviously it gives them a upper hand in terms
Exactly.
of survival and in terms of the log standings where they can find themselves.
And obviously, on Saturday we also had Kigali Youth Sports Academy up against Zanaco. Now bashipaba ichaba new. After Wasepa Bakalamba Cabo Warriors, the Banker boys go there with bumbling with so much confidence. Now Wasepa sana bengwa Zanaco pakachapa.
Yeah.
But Bakabo fia change.
I was hoping Zanaco was going to to record them a convincing win.
Kudiba Cabo Youth Sports Academy, Mike Wabalava.
Because Cabo Youth Soccer Academy was coming from a loss against Power Dynamos.
Exactly.
4-0 bashing at the Davis Stadium. Obviously, Zanaco were favourites on paper.
And bubbling with confidence.
Yeah, but on the field of play, well, Kaisa spoiled the party for Zanaco. Remember, before that game, Zanaco had scored 15 goals at home, and facing a Kaisa squad which is not stable and the likes. They just spoiled the party for Zanaco, and Zanaco came back to Lusaka with a single point.
Yeah, right. Now, gentlemen,
scoring.
Before we go for that break, obviously, the last encounter was on Sunday when Power Dynamos hosted Zesco United. Now, the way you were bubbling with confidence, but football being what it is, it was Power 2, Zesco 2. That was a rainy encounter, playing in the rains. So, Power means more patient fulatawi, Aisa Lokasana. So, go.
If you ask me, Bruce, on this very platform, I said I was not going to predict. I said this game could end either way. The battle of two giants in the Zambian Super League.
The electrical giants.
The electrical giants. Power Dynamos started well, scored in the 3rd minute via Luka Chamanga. Zesco equalized on the 45th minutes before they had gone for the break. At halftime, they were coming back with 1-1 draw, and it was raining. Michael kept saying Zesco played well when the rain started. I don't know what that means. The first goal was a poor
divine intervention. Yeah, it was Zesco. Right.
Zesco equalized before the halftime, and it was raining. But for me, I felt the first goal was totally poor defensive error from the defenders. They couldn't mark John Chingandu. It was an awkward finish. It was a great header from Winston Kalengo, but an awkward finish from
and Kalengo is quite an experienced striker.
Yes.
So he pounced on that error.
And then it hit John Chingandu and Power. They were drawing. They came back, they scored, but by 90 minutes, Kennedy Msonda equalized, and they shared the spoils. At the end of the day, the headline was not that bad on the following day on Monday, because remember, for the past season, it has always been Zesco Cats Power, Zesco Lord Shades Power. So, not a bad result for me. Zesco are bouncing back from a loss in the CAF Champions League.
Exactly.
So obviously they want to concentrate more on the local league. And Power hasn't been playing well for the previous fixtures. It's the only game they played well is a 4-0 bashing against Kaisa.
Kaisa, you're right.
For me, it was a fair result.
Fair result. And Michael, earlier we mentioned how Forest Rangers was excited, the management there, rewarding the players. It's unfortunate that Power Dynamos have missed the spot to play in the APSA Cup 2020.
So, I was looking at Power when you were saying fair result for both.
Fair, no
but
APSA.
I think a bad result for Power for me. failure to qualify for APSA. I think they needed to win this particular encounter. But unfortunately, just like Alakson alluded to, Power played very well. The majority of the first half, they played very well. They scored in the 3rd minute. And just to allow Zesco to bounce back
in the range.
2 minutes.
Mumfula.
That's when Zesco started dominating. Like they dominated the last 10 minutes of that first half, Zesco United. And I was saying they look like the squad which is going to equalize, and they equalized. Came the second half, a schoolboy error by one White Monamba. Zesco pounced on that and they scored. They were leading 2-1. But after that goal, Power started dictating play. They dominated
the style of play improved really.
The introduction of Frederick Mulambia Jr. Brought some depth in the squad, and they managed to equalize. At the end of the day, single points, but Power could have won that game.
There you have it indeed, and it was good for the supporters.
Yeah.
Mumful at least back or not Valusa Power, because
we saw some loyal supporters.
Loyal Mumfula, you saw how people were soaked,
People were soaked.
Balelumba still.
They were still celebrating, cheering on their squad. Both our supporters, Zesco and Power supporters, were there in the ring.
Well, if you don't know, now you know. This is Kopala TV Sports Diary, and catch us on the other side as we go for a break. Hello and welcome back to Sports Diary. Earlier, before we went for a break, we were looking at the MTN Super League results and how teams are played over the weekend. But let's go into the National League sponsored by the Eden University and FAS, as we have some results that were coming in. And I'm going to start with Michael. Zesco Malaiti nil and Nchanga Rangers nil. Michael, Nchanga Rangers, are they going to bounce back into the Super League? Because they have not been very consistent with the results.
Brave Nchanga Rangers.
Brave.
I think in the last few fixtures, they've recorded, positive results. We remember talking about that they are looking good. They want to bounce back, but the league, the league table where they are standing, I think it's not favorable for them to bounce back. And drawing against which team again?
They are against Zesco Malaiti, right?
I think drawing away was not a bad result. I thought they were playing at home, but a point away, not a very bad result for Nchanga Rangers.
Yes, others were saying that Nchanga wakasango mwabsa because there were some teams that were fighting to get themselves into the ABSA. Now, for some viewers that may not understand how it is, it's a group that is in top 4, and in National League they were picking some teams as well. So all was there for the grabs, as the league, started this season, the 2019-2020 season league, and we all knew that ABSA Cup will be coming in, formerly Barclays Cup. Now it's called ABSA 2020 Cup, and it's coming up. And of course, let's look at the young Green Eagles having beaten Chambishi 4-1. Chambish was away, and Chambish was also trying to fight and play in the ABSA 2020 Cup as well. Laxon, by young Green Eagles.
Well, they're still emulating the elder brothers.
Replicating their form, eh?
Yeah, good results for them, but a bad result for Chambishi. We're hoping Kopala teams to perform well.
But Kopala, our money is on Kopala teams. We're on Kopala TV.
Obviously, I'm from the Kopala. I would support Chambishi, but also young Green Eagles, they're doing well. They're on top of the table now. Because Kito United have slipped off. So for them, they're looking forward to play in the Super Division.
Right.
For the top 2 teams that I would fancy to go through, maybe if I were to say 4, I would put Indeni, Kito United, young Green Eagles, and maybe Goms. Most likely Goms. But for young Green Eagles, again, before coming on set with Michael, we're actually discussing, saying what would happen if young Green Eagles are qualified the Super Division, because they will beat their elder brothers. So in terms of sponsorship package, so obviously young lads will be disadvantaged. But football being the way it is and the way they are playing, we are seeing them bouncing back in the Super Division.
Right. I'm glad that your prediction of those teams that might be promoted into the Super League, you mentioned Kito United, Indeni, Goms, and of course young Green Eagles. So there's still hope for some coverable teams. Michael, Goms 3 and FC Muza 1. Goms still maintains the consistency. The Acid Boys.
After beating Kito United,
now I got to have a confidence.
They continue to produce positive results. They beat former Premier League team, FC Muza, by 3-1. I think it's good to see some consistency in the team portrayed by Goms. And it's sad they've not qualified for ABSA, but I would love to watch Goms performing in ABSA with the likes of Nkana, Green Eagles, and of course Forest Rangers. But not all hope is lost. They can still concentrate on the National League and continue performing well. Hopefully they can
for the sake of promotion, exactly,
challenge young Green Eagles for to play in the league.
Now, Laxon, this game was actually shown on SuperSport, the game between Indeni Football Club and Kito United, because it was a double header before Nkana took on Forest Rangers. So Indeni 2, Kito United 1. I'm getting worried with the Chingalika boys. They've given up their top position, surrendered it to young Green Eagles, and they lost to Indeni. the Oyo boys in Denny also maintaining some consistency. What's your take on this game?
Yeah, I think Naivakanafe, they lost it at Arthur Davis against the Gomes.
But TV Naivakanafe, let's just tell him the
playing
TV.
home away from home, I
Yeah.
think it's
Maybe the boys, Bachingalika boys.
Maybe they want to be playing at
Pamwa Wofie.
Stadium. So hard luck. Not hope is lost. They can still go to their drawing board. It's not yet scratched or wrecked. So I think they need to. One thing I've noticed is that you lose 2-1 in 2 consecutive fixtures. They are scoring goals. They are not just maintaining. They are scoring 1 and allowing 2. That's the disadvantage. So in terms of stats in football, you'd say where is the weakest link? We can't pinpoint on the midfielders and the scorers.
Right.
The defensive part, that's where they are lacking a bit of leadership. So if they were to solidify the back four, obviously the 1 goal they are scoring would give them that advantage, and especially if they are playing at home. But unfortunately they've lost it at Arthur Davis and losing it at Tinkana Stadium.
Bakito United balefu pa TV. Balefu afevaye palapeni pake PF. They play better there.
Yeah, and they've maintained some of the players that you know played in the Super Division. The likes of Holly Songwe, recently called for the national team by our new coach. The likes of John Mwelwa, the captain Lolozi, and the fans' favorite is a guy who's what's the name again? Successor, famously known as Successor.
Yes.
Yeah. They've maintained the squad. I think they just have to go back to the drawing board, just like Laksuna said. And obviously,
well, it depends. Like we will say on this show, it depends whether or not the drawing board is still there. Ngatavato waula fi kwamba rebuild again and seeing how. Anyhow, the other results that came in terms of the National League, FAS Eden University National League, we had Celtic, Kafio Celtic 2. And Zesco Shockers are new. We had Sinazongo United 1 and Mpulungu Harbour 2. National Assembly 0, Prison Leopards 1. And we also had Police College 2, Mumbwa Medics 1, Zambif nil, and Chindwin nil. These are the results that wrapped up the National League results. Overplayed the games that were played over the weekend. Now, gentlemen, before we say our goodbyes, Zambia, preparing, and the coach calling some, players from the lower leagues, to go for trials and just to check them out. Yeah. Is that the step in the right direction, as in to when we link it to, developing the national team?
Yeah, I think for me, Coach Micho being new to Zambian football, for me, I think that's, a very good initiative. Calling our players in the lower division, Division 1, National League, the likes of Holly Songwe, the likes of Frederick Mulambia, it gives motivation to the players, just to don in a Zambian jersey. And for me, he wants to take a look at the massive talent that Zambia has. So calling a limited number of players, I think it's not going to work out for him, but I think he's heading in the right direction. Wonderful.
Laxon, what's your take on that one? And because I have to bring you in to give us, just an overview of the MTN Super League table, just the top 4 and of obviously the bottom 4. But what's your take on the coach, casting his net widely in calling in players from the lower leagues for, to be assessed and looked at?
Well, I was checking at the names, and one of the interesting names that popped up for me was the young lad from Chongwe Secondary School. So he's speaking from a pool of players as far as high schools, where he's got a variety of options to pick from. He started with 64 selection from the northern region on the Copper Belt and Copper Belt northern region, and then the southern part, Lusaka and southern province, he picked 67. So he had 100 plus players to pick from. So obviously it's a wide representation in terms of Zambian players. So for me, that's a good move, and we're hoping that he comes up with a cream of the creams that will face off Tanzania, likes of Guinea, and of course probably finish off better in Chan.
Exactly, we're looking for the cream de la cream of the players, not just the boardroom selection. Muchivan, some of our side level player, so that they represent us well at the Chan Cup. Laxon, the MTN FAS Super League log.
Yes, so in the MTN FAS Super League, we begin with the first slot. It's already known now with 42 points. It's Forest Rangers And of course, number 2, Green Eagles, after played 21 games, they stand on number 2 with 41 points. Number 3, Zesco. Seems Zesco now, they are building up. They are on number 3 with 39 points. Number 4, Nkana, Abared with 39 points as well, being separated by goal difference with Zesco. We look at the bottom 5, the bottom 4. It's a Kansanshi Dynamos on number 15 with 24 points. Nagambala Leopards, number 16 with 16 points. Kaisa, number 17 with only 13 points. And Mufia Wanderers at the bottom of the table with only 11 points after played 22 games.
Wamufulira left by a draw 1-1, but actually per bottom. Let's wish them all the best as they meet other opponents in the MTN Super League. It's getting interesting, and remember, for those that may not be aware, the FARs will be going for the AGM where they will be electing, FARs councillors on the Copper Belt level, on provincial levels, and on national levels. We wish all the candidates the very best as they start campaigning. Maybe one of these days we'll have one coming on air and maybe explaining their vision in terms of football development in Zambia. This has been your sports program, Sports Diary, on Kopala TV channel 98, and on Facebook, like our page Kopala TV. My name is Bruce Muvanga, and of course I have been with Michael Mtale and Lakson Mwale as we have been looking at the games. Next week we are back on your screen. Catch us and join us. Bye bye for now.